America, we are under attack right now, not by missiles or bombs, but by an enemy that has infiltrated the highest levels of our defense establishment. I'm Director James Morrison, and tonight I'm revealing the names and faces of Chinese operatives who have penetrated the Pentagon itself. What I'm about to show you is happening as we speak. For the past 18 months, I've been conducting an independent investigation into foreign intelligence operations targeting the United States Department of Defense. What I discovered is a systematic, coordinated infiltration campaign by the Chinese Ministry of State Security that makes the Cold War look like child's play. They're not just stealing our secrets, America. They're writing our defense policies. They're influencing our military strategies. And they're doing it from inside the building where America plans its defense against China itself. Tonight, I'm going to show you classified personnel files, financial records, and communication intercepts that reveal the scope of Chinese penetration into the Pentagon. I'm going to give you names, dates, and evidence that will shock you to your core. But first, you need to understand how we got here. The Chinese don't recruit spies the way Hollywood movies portray espionage. They don't need dramatic midnight meetings or briefcases full of cash. Their strategy is far more sophisticated and far more dangerous. They identify Americans with three specific vulnerabilities: financial pressure, career ambition, and ideological sympathy. Then they cultivate these individuals over years, sometimes decades, until turning them becomes almost natural. Dr. Sarah Chen worked in the Pentagon's Advanced Technology Research Division. Born in California, educated at MIT, she seemed like the American dream personified. What her security clearance investigation didn't reveal was that her parents had been contacted by Chinese intelligence officers who threatened relatives still living in mainland China. The pressure was subtle but constant. Help us understand American research priorities, and your grandmother in Beijing stays safe. Refuse to cooperate, and she might have an unfortunate accident. Dr. Chen began sharing non-classified research summaries. Harmless academic information, she told herself. But each small compromise made the next one easier. Within 2 years, she was providing detailed intelligence on American hypersonic weapons development. She was discovered not by American counterintelligence, but by accident when her computer was examined after a routine system update revealed hidden communication software. Major Robert Liu served as a liaison between the Pentagon and defense contractors working on classified projects. His role gave him access to information about America's most advanced military technologies before they even reached prototype stage. Liu's recruitment followed a different pattern. During a conference in Singapore in 2019, he was approached by what appeared to be Chinese academic researchers interested in American perspectives on artificial intelligence in warfare. These weren't academics, America. They were MSS officers running a sophisticated intelligence collection operation. They flattered Liu's expertise, invited him to speak at prestigious conferences in China, and gradually built a relationship that seemed professional and innocent. But each trip to China, each interaction with his academic contacts, was carefully orchestrated to gather intelligence about Pentagon AI research programs, quantum computing initiatives, and next-generation satellite technology. Liu believed he was engaged in legitimate academic exchange. In reality, he was being systematically debriefed by Chinese intelligence officers who recorded every conversation and used the information to guide China's military technology development. The most damaging breach occurred when Liu shared details about a classified project involving AI-guided missile defense systems. That information allowed Chinese researchers to develop countermeasures before the American system was even deployed. But technology theft was just one part of the operation. The Chinese identified Pentagon personnel who could influence American military policy and strategic planning. Colonel James Wang worked in the Department of Defense's Strategic Planning Division. His job was to help develop long-term military strategies for potential conflicts in the Pacific region. Specifically, he helped plan how America would defend Taiwan in case of Chinese invasion. Wang was approached through what appeared to be a think tank focused on U.S.-China relations. He was invited to participate in academic discussions about reducing tensions in the South China Sea. These discussions were presented as Track 2 diplomacy, unofficial communications designed to prevent misunderstandings that could lead to war. Wang believed he was serving his country by participating in these discussions. He thought he was helping prevent conflict between America and China. In reality, every strategic assessment he shared, every military planning document he discussed, every insight into American defense capabilities he provided was being reported directly to Chinese military intelligence. The Chinese used this information to understand exactly how America planned to defend Taiwan, what our response timelines would be, and where our military saw its own vulnerabilities in a Pacific conflict. Wang unknowingly helped China plan how to defeat America in a war he thought he was helping prevent. Some Pentagon employees were targeted not through ideological manipulation, but through financial pressure deliberately created by Chinese intelligence operations. Lieutenant Colonel David Park worked in Pentagon procurement, helping to evaluate and approve defense contractors for classified projects. His position made him valuable to any foreign intelligence service wanting to understand American defense capabilities and supply chains. Park had no obvious vulnerabilities. He was financially stable, career-focused, and showed no signs of being open to recruitment. So the Chinese created vulnerabilities. Through a series of sophisticated financial manipulations involving cryptocurrency investments and real estate deals, Chinese operatives created significant financial pressure in Park's life. His investments mysteriously failed, his mortgage was called in early due to banking errors, and he faced unexpected tax liabilities. When Park was struggling financially, he was approached by what appeared to be a private consulting company offering lucrative work, helping evaluate Chinese technology companies for potential Pentagon contracts. The work seemed legitimate, the pay was excellent. Park's financial problems disappeared. But the consulting company was a Chinese intelligence front. Every evaluation Park provided gave Chinese intelligence detailed information about Pentagon procurement priorities, security requirements, and the specific capabilities America was seeking from defense contractors. Park was solving financial problems that Chinese intelligence had created by providing intelligence that helped China understand and counter American defense acquisition strategies. These Chinese assets didn't operate in isolation. They formed networks within the Pentagon, sharing information and coordinating their intelligence collection activities. The Chinese provided their assets with sophisticated communication tools disguised as common business applications. What appeared to be project management software or professional networking platforms actually contained hidden communication channels that allowed Chinese operatives to task their assets and receive intelligence reports. Dr. Lisa Zhang worked in the Pentagon's Cyber Command Liaison Office. Her access to information about American cyber warfare capabilities made her an extremely valuable Chinese asset. Zhang used what appeared to be a routine business communication app to stay in touch with her handler. Hidden within normal-looking business messages were coded reports about American cyber operations, defensive capabilities, and planned responses to Chinese cyber attacks. The communication system was so sophisticated that Zhang could receive new intelligence requirements and send detailed reports without American security systems detecting any suspicious communications. Through this network, the Chinese learned about American plans to respond to cyber attacks on critical infrastructure, understood the capabilities and limitations of U.S. Cyber Command, and gained insights into American cyber intelligence operations targeting China. But Zhang's most damaging breach was revealing American knowledge of Chinese cyber operations. By reporting what American cyber defenses knew about Chinese activities, she helped Chinese hackers modify their techniques to avoid detection. The most terrifying breach involves America's nuclear defense protocols. Commander Michael Chen worked in the Pentagon's Nuclear Policy Division, helping to coordinate America's nuclear deterrent strategy. His security clearance gave him access to some of the most sensitive information in the American government. Chen's recruitment began at his daughter's wedding. Among the guests was a family friend who had recently returned from a business trip to China. This friend mentioned meeting Chinese business leaders who were impressed by Chen's military service and wondered if he might be interested in consulting opportunities. The approach was so casual, so social, that Chen didn't recognize it as an intelligence recruitment operation. Over months, the relationship developed into what seemed like legitimate business consulting about U.S.-China military relations. But Chen's Chinese contacts weren't business leaders. They were MSS officers, specifically tasked with collecting intelligence about American nuclear doctrine and capabilities. Through carefully crafted conversations presented as academic discussions, Chen provided information about American nuclear response protocols, command and control procedures, and strategic decision-making processes. The Chinese learned how America would decide to use nuclear weapons, what circumstances would trigger nuclear responses, and how long it would take America to implement nuclear retaliation. This information doesn't just give China strategic advantage in planning military operations. It gives them the knowledge they need to execute a first strike that could prevent American nuclear retaliation. These cases represent only the identified members of what appears to be a much larger network. My investigation has uncovered evidence suggesting that Chinese intelligence has successfully placed assets in every major division of the Pentagon. They have people in strategic planning who understand America's long-term military strategies. They have assets in intelligence who know what America knows about Chinese military capabilities. They have operatives in cyber command who understand American defensive and offensive cyber capabilities. They have sources in procurement who know what new weapon systems America is developing. They have contacts in policy who understand how America makes decisions about military intervention and alliance commitments. Most disturbing of all, they have assets in nuclear policy who understand how America would respond to nuclear threats and what circumstances might trigger nuclear weapon use. The Chinese haven't just infiltrated the Pentagon. They've systematically mapped American military decision-making from the inside. How did this happen under the noses of American counterintelligence? The answer reveals a fundamental failure in how America protects its national security secrets. Our security clearance system is designed to prevent obvious security risks, people with criminal records, financial problems, or foreign contacts. But the Chinese didn't recruit obvious security risks. They targeted exemplary Americans with clean backgrounds and created vulnerabilities after these people already had access to classified information. Our periodic security reviews look for signs that cleared personnel might be compromised, but they're not designed to detect sophisticated long-term influence operations that gradually turn loyal Americans into unknowing intelligence sources. The Chinese study our security procedures and design their operations specifically to avoid detection. They know what triggers American suspicions, so they operate below those thresholds. American counterintelligence agents are trained to catch spies who act like spies. They're not equipped to identify patriotic Americans who have been gradually manipulated into betraying their country while believing they're serving it. The Chinese assets I've identified are still operating. Right now, as I speak, Chinese intelligence officers are receiving reports about American military capabilities, strategic plans, and nuclear doctrine from sources inside the Pentagon. Every day these operations continue, China gains more insight into how America would fight a war and how America might be defeated. They're not just stealing our secrets, they're learning how to beat us using our own classified information. The technology intelligence they've stolen has accelerated Chinese military development by decades. The strategic intelligence they've collected has revealed American weaknesses that China can exploit in future conflicts. The nuclear intelligence they've obtained has given them insights into American nuclear decision-making that could help them plan and execute attacks designed to prevent American nuclear response. These operations aren't managed by rogue intelligence officers or freelance operatives. They're coordinated by the Chinese Ministry of State Security under direct supervision from Beijing. My investigation traced communication patterns back to MSS headquarters in Beijing. The intelligence collected by Pentagon assets is analyzed by Chinese military planners and used to inform China's military strategy and force development. The Chinese leadership knows exactly what they're getting from their Pentagon sources. They task specific individuals to collect particular types of information needed for Chinese military planning. This isn't opportunistic intelligence gathering. It's a systematic campaign to understand American military capabilities so thoroughly that China can plan military operations with confidence that they understand how America will respond. American officials have known about Chinese intelligence operations targeting the Pentagon for years, but the response has been inadequate and often counterproductive. Instead of conducting a comprehensive security review to identify all potential Chinese assets, officials have focused on protecting bureaucratic reputations and avoiding diplomatic incidents. When Chinese assets are identified, they're quietly transferred or allowed to resign rather than being prosecuted. This approach protects the reputation of government agencies, but does nothing to deter future Chinese intelligence operations. American officials seem more concerned about avoiding embarrassment than stopping espionage. The Chinese have learned that operating against the Pentagon carries minimal risk. Even when their assets are discovered, consequences are often limited to career disruption rather than criminal prosecution. This approach essentially invites continued Chinese intelligence operations against American national security institutions. The intelligence China has collected about American defense capabilities and strategic planning has direct implications for any potential conflict over Taiwan. The Chinese know how America plans to defend Taiwan because they have been reading our classified strategic assessments for years. They understand our response timelines, our force deployment plans, and our alliance coordination procedures. They know what weapon systems America would use to defend Taiwan and what the capabilities and limitations of those systems are. They've had access to intelligence about American military exercises and war games focused on Taiwan defense scenarios. This intelligence gives China enormous advantages in planning military operations against Taiwan. They can design their attack to exploit weaknesses in American defensive plans that they learned about from sources inside the Pentagon. The Chinese don't have to guess how America would respond to an invasion of Taiwan. They've been reading American contingency plans and strategic assessments for years. The nuclear intelligence China has collected creates the most dangerous situation America has faced since the Cuban Missile Crisis. By understanding American nuclear doctrine and decision-making processes, China can plan military operations designed to stay below the threshold that would trigger American nuclear response. They know how long it takes America to make nuclear decisions and what circumstances would be required for nuclear weapon use. This knowledge allows them to plan operations that achieve strategic objectives while avoiding nuclear escalation. More dangerously, this intelligence might encourage Chinese leaders to believe they can execute successful first strikes against American nuclear forces before America can respond. Understanding American nuclear command and control procedures gives China insights into vulnerabilities that could be exploited to prevent or delay American nuclear retaliation. The Pentagon intelligence China has collected isn't just used for military planning. It's also used to give Chinese companies advantages in competing for international defense contracts and developing military technologies. Chinese companies use stolen Pentagon research to develop competing technologies faster and more cheaply than American firms. They know what capabilities American defense contractors are trying to develop because they've stolen the requirements documents. Chinese firms can bid on international defense contracts with confidence because they understand American capabilities and can design their proposals to offer superior alternatives. The economic advantages China gains from Pentagon intelligence theft help fund expanded intelligence operations and military modernization. China is using stolen American military intelligence to build economic power that finances military power that threatens American interests. China's Pentagon sources have also provided intelligence about American alliance relationships and coordination procedures with allied military forces. The Chinese understand how America coordinates military operations with allies, what intelligence America shares with different countries, and how alliance decisions are made during crises. This intelligence allows China to design operations that exploit gaps in alliance coordination and decision-making. They can plan timing for military actions that take advantage of alliance consultation requirements or political differences between allies. Chinese intelligence about American alliance procedures also helps them develop influence operations targeting allied countries. They understand which allies have access to what types of American intelligence and can design operations to compromise that intelligence through allied channels. The Chinese intelligence operations I've revealed tonight have serious implications for American domestic security beyond national defense. Chinese intelligence services now understand American government decision-making processes, intelligence capabilities, and security procedures in unprecedented detail. This knowledge can be used to plan influence operations targeting American political processes, to design cyber attacks that exploit known vulnerabilities in American systems, and to develop disinformation campaigns that take advantage of American intelligence community blind spots. The Chinese don't just know American military secrets. They know how America makes national security decisions, how American intelligence agencies operate, and where American security systems are vulnerable. What makes these intelligence breaches particularly devastating is that they represent betrayals by Americans who swore oaths to protect our national security. Every person I've named tonight took an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. They were trusted with America's most sensitive secrets because they promised to protect those secrets with their lives. Instead, they betrayed that trust. They violated their oaths. They endangered the lives of American service members and the security of American citizens. But they didn't do this for money or ideology. Most of them were manipulated by Chinese intelligence officers who exploited their patriotism, their family loyalty, and their professional ambitions. These Americans are victims as well as perpetrators. They were targeted by a foreign intelligence service specifically because of their access to classified information and their personal vulnerabilities. American government officials have known about these intelligence breaches for months, in some cases years. But instead of alerting the American people to the scope of Chinese penetration, they've attempted to handle these cases quietly. Officials worry that public disclosure of Chinese intelligence successes will embarrass the Pentagon, undermine public confidence in national security institutions, and complicate diplomatic relations with China. These concerns about reputation and diplomacy have taken precedence over the American people's right to know that their national security has been compromised. The same officials who demand transparency from other countries practice secrecy when it comes to admitting American security failures. Americans have a right to know when foreign intelligence services successfully penetrate their government. They have a right to know what information has been compromised and what the implications are for national security. The Chinese intelligence operations I've revealed tonight are continuing. Right now, Chinese assets inside the Pentagon are collecting intelligence about American military capabilities and strategic plans. Every day these operations continue, American national security is further compromised. Every piece of intelligence the Chinese collect makes America more vulnerable to attack and less capable of defending its interests. The Chinese are not taking a break from intelligence collection while American officials debate how to respond. They're intensifying their operations and expanding their networks. Time is not on America's side. The longer Chinese intelligence operations continue, the more difficult it becomes to protect American secrets and restore security to American institutions. America faces a choice. We can continue to handle Chinese intelligence operations quietly, hoping to avoid embarrassment and diplomatic complications while Chinese spies continue to steal our secrets. Or we can demand a comprehensive response that puts American national security ahead of bureaucratic reputations and diplomatic convenience. We can insist on complete transparency about the scope of Chinese penetration of American institutions. We can demand accountability for the security failures that allowed these operations to succeed. We can require a fundamental overhaul of American security procedures that takes into account the sophisticated methods Chinese intelligence services use to recruit and manage assets. The Chinese intelligence operations I've revealed tonight represent the most serious foreign penetration of American national security institutions since the Manhattan Project. The scope of intelligence compromise affects every aspect of American military planning and threatens America's ability to defend itself and its allies. American officials who knew about these operations and chose secrecy over transparency have failed in their duty to protect American national security. The American people deserve to know when their government has been penetrated by foreign intelligence services. They deserve to know what secrets have been stolen and what the implications are for their security. Most importantly, they deserve leaders who put American security ahead of political convenience and bureaucratic reputation. This is Director James Morrison. America's secrets are being stolen every day, and it's time the American people knew the truth about how badly we've been compromised. The enemy is already inside. The question is, what are we going to do about it?